Hi, my name is Jack and I'm going to show you how to defend on Icebox. Defending an Icebox with JITV. For starters, when it comes down to Icebox, I'm going to tell you the basic composition that a lot of teams are going to pick up on, and the basic composition that a lot of teams in ranked really will default to. Your perfect Icebox composition is more than likely going to entail two duelists, naturally a Jett and a Reyna. Jett and Reyna are two that you're going to find, if not maybe a Reyna and a Raze, perhaps. Those are the two duelists. Three type of duelist sets you'll find. Other than that, you'll need a Sova, you'll need a Sage, and you will need a Viper. That's the composition that was used by Sentinels, I believe, in their run that did find them winning Masters in Reykjavik. And this is going to be, I believe, a composition a lot of teams are going to adopt and run with. In fact, if I looked at Masters, I believe, out of the two Icebox games that I have saw, I'm pretty sure they had pretty much mirror compositions. So for starters, I'm going to start off with my personal favorite from the 5 agents, Sova. So for Sova, I believe that there's maybe two positions you want to really take on a map like Icebox. First of which is going to be inside this close box in 410, your first dart. You can full power pretty much, look out to your left,
area.
Smack it off the backboard. That dart now on the backside will clear out anywhere coming in towards belt and just outside of main as well. Another angle you may want to hold could well be, oh, I've got that one messed up. Let me go again. Get it first time, of course. I'd never mess up one of these jumps. On top of screens. You can play on top of screens, play for a full power one bounce, aim it anywhere on this board here. It's going to pop onto the backboard the same way the other one will. Feeds out all that information and tells you everything you need to know. And if you have two agents already in on a site, what you can do to hover mid and to hold mid while clearing out B is get a one bounce dart, fire at full power just above this small little white box here that you can see. I might zoom in on that just for visual effect. Let go and watch it ping up this box here. That will clear all of this B lane area and clear it out for you so no one can walk in too easy. If you're going to use a drone, I believe you should only ever use it if you're outside of screens or just inside of 410 if they haven't already started their push. Remember, when you're droning, you will be vulnerable. You won't be able to pop out just as easy, and when you cancel your drone, there's still a small amount of time before you can pull out a weapon. So what I will say is if you're going to pull out your drone, be wary of pushers, have a teammate ready to cover you, and be ready to cover all of these corners because there's lots of different tidy angles on A side they can hide, including nest and any of these back boxes over here towards this pipes area.
Right here.
Now, for Jett and for Reyna, there's a few different places you can play, especially with your utility, especially with everything that you have to offer. But when you're playing with Jett, obviously it's recommended, it's probably somewhat required that you may want to play with an operator. Now, there's a few different angles you can hold with an operator. This angle here from on top of generator. Here, I believe this is generator. If you play on top of it and hold into this A lobby angle, it can be very well held, very hard to counter, although they can walk in very close to the right-hand side here and go unspotted. Otherwise, you can hold an angle nice and low, up on top of belt, or you can play just above. And play the exact same type of angle holding belt, just be wary of someone playing down low. Maybe have your Sova teammate or your teammate that's going to join you on site playing just in behind boiler here, ready to take, boiler generator, ready to take any first contact or initiation from anyone down low or up high on pipes before 410. Just a quick look at two other spots you can hold when you're using an operator. Definitely trying to use this angle up on top of boilers, one for sure. And then another angle that people may want to hold, especially if they're trying to watch for a mid-cross, would be under the tube here, trying to watch for anyone crossing it from A towards B or from B towards A, or through mid for the same reason. There are a multitude of different angles that people can hold with operators on B side for the same reason. Maybe one here could be the dead angle that could be held here on towards this B lobby push. However, a flash can easily counter this. For the same reason, you can use any of these up high boxes, but being wary that your updraft may well be heard before that. An angle like this is kind of hard to read for the same reason an angle up on top of yellow isn't exactly the most conventional and can be a bit harder to predict. So I will show a map eventually where I think every agent should position themselves approximately on the map for a defensive hold on Icebox, but I do believe that the two duelists should be playing somewhere towards A and mid. that much should be for sure, with the Sova also playing in the 8 to mid region as well. A combination of the three are always good for that first bit of contact. Now, when you are going to beat a Reyna in this sort of a situation, in this sort of area, what I would recommend is some high leers can always catch out opponents getting ready to swing off your left here for contact of 410, maybe calling for your teammates that are also going to sit left side of boiler, or even trying to play a high up angle. Now this angle is a bit of a nice one to get to. You will eventually, in fact I'm going to show you now instead of making you like wait and show you a different example. If you're playing to get over here on towards that top pipes angle, you will want to hold shift when you're on the zip line and just hit your spacebar, hop off. They will hear the drop. They will hear the drop if they're pushing in short and they're ready enough, but you could take the first shot and get a free hit onto a player moving along top of belt. I mentioned this with Reyna purely because she also has her dismiss feature in her E key. So once you hit that, you can dismiss, get back in behind 410 nice and clear. The only counter to your play here is probably a Raise Nade or some Sova shock darts. Now a Sage, it has probably the toughest job to do, for being honest, because you have to sit through this whole game and you're probably going to be battered with utility because that's all they can do. A Sage has a very large role to play, especially on attacking when it comes to Icebox, but for defending, one of the key things that people like to do would be to wall tube. A nice play will slow people down. It's definitely something viable, definitely something you should run in your ranked. Don't run it every round. Don't run it every round if they're not going to go up towards tube, if they're not going to exploit it. Maybe play off that, but you can still play towards kitchen. What I recommend is when you do play your wall, you either try to play hold under this underpass to allow no one to pass through mid, or you can play another angle again in the form of boiler and hold mid for your teammates, allowing for your duelist teammates and your Sova to play on A and allow for less contact for them. Cuts off that screen's push, gives your duelist and Sova that less exposure from the right hand side, and allows for close contact to initiate and to take place. Now, especially when you are playing on Icebox, the default plans naturally are going to take place around here and around here. So I'm going to show you the A site default and how you want to play with your Sage wall, especially if you're able to hold on to it. One of the things is people will wall instantly, and that will be to their own disdain. That could be a little bit unfortunate. So when they do plant in any of these default areas, to try and counter anything coming in, a simple wall to cover this right hand side will suffice. It will do enough, and it normally will cut off any contact from anyone coming close and will force them to use the zip line, which has a very easy audio cue. And of course, for the same reason here, the default plant here is naturally beside this Radiant box, which by the way is wall bangable. So if you're on defense, no matter what you're doing, if you hear that they're on defense, you just want to let that box know, give it the smoke, let them know what's happening. No one's able to counter that. You can't see your opponents, they can't see you. They don't know if you're behind it or not. Always spray it. But if you do get the chance to do so, always just play a wall. Cover yourself, give yourself the opportunity. Maybe have your teammates covering from your right-hand side. There's only one place they can peek, and that's if they don't go through the wall in the first place, and it has to be from the right-hand side. So be prepared and be ready for that initial contact. So Vipers on Icebox have a very important role in the form of holding and taking. So one of the takes that people like to do is now at the very start of a round there will be a wall approximately here. They like to throw down their Viper wall here just to try and cut off any entry. When they throw it up, you always want to throw a snake bite down there as well to try and stop them from making any initial push. For the same reason, if you get nice and close to this box, jump with a right click, get it on top. It will form a one-way that you can hold either side and allow no players to push through. You will see their ankles first if you hold and crouch at the same given time. Now that wall is also a useful wall, but another wall that players will like to use is this wall, which goes all the way down to main for the same reason and has an awful lot of cover given. But the reason people like to use this wall is that it's a retake wall. So when it goes up, no one can see when you're on the spike or when you're trying to defuse. Now, a normal Viper's wall on attack will normally stem from here all the way back down to main somewhere. So they will have some sort of an advantage to get themselves onto site, but there's never any guarantee they're going to be ready for that post plant. So if you're a Viper and you have a retake wall ready, the first thing you're going to want to do after catching them here, if you catch any opponents here on their way on up, the first thing you're going to want to do is get the hell out of there. You're going straight to Snowman, you're going straight behind container, you're waiting for these guys to push up. You got to give them plant, but a full retake is the way to go. And finally, the last step of it all, you do have your snake bites as well that can help at any given point. I mentioned already that you can use them down in towards main at the start of round to stop any fast pushes. But always, and always, if you're a Viper and you have your ult ready, don't be afraid to get them out of your way. If you drop your Viper's Pit nice and early, it will delay any B pushes. No one can come through B like this. It allows for the Sage to take a position here under mid to try and hold anyone under tube to cross, to watch the cross at that, and then it allows your teammates to stack A because inevitably they've got to go A. It's very hard to kill someone in the Viper's Pit, and it's recommended to always look down because when you look down in a Viper's Pit, you're going to have that bit better vision. But when you look down, be ready to snap up and get ready to recorrect 2 head height. So yeah, that's the end of my defending on Icebox video. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. Comment below what maps you want to see defending on next. And if this video gets, let's say, 50 likes, I will make an attacking on Icebox video. Attacking on Icebox is a little bit tough because a lot of people don't know how to really take it. But I'm gonna give you a step-by-step process on what to do using the exact same agents as I described.